Hello folks, this is Sullla here. I'm here to make an announcement for an upcoming venture that's going to be running during the summer. Some of you might have noticed that I've been playing some Diablo 2 on live stream in the past couple weeks. That's in part to try and finish up with some projects from the past as part of this summer where I'm trying to catch up on a whole number of different things that I have left unfinished on my website. But anyway, long story short, we've been playing some Diablo 2 and there's been some interest in running a team variant group over the summer, so I'm going to use this video to give you a quick rundown on the team that I'm going to be running. And I'm going to have to go ahead and turn off the webcam here for a second because it takes up too much of the screen. So let's go ahead and look at this. We're going to be running something known as the Elemental Strike team. This is an old team concept that was run by Syrian back in the day, in the early days of Diablo 2. So this is Elemental Strike Team 2014. I've made some modifications to the rules that used to be around in order to fit with the current rule set for Diablo 2 a little bit better. So you can see the bullet points here. Diablo 2 team variant to be played out over summer 2014. It's going to be live stream for anyone who wants to watch. I'm hoping that some of you who are watching this might be interested in watching on the live stream. Of course, totally up to you guys, but might be of interest. 8 different characters: Fire Sorcery, Cold Sorcery, Lightning Sorcery, Poison Necromancer, Bone Necromancer, Fire Druid, Wind Druid, and an Aura Paladin. All characters to be played pure, no gifts, no twinks, no trades outside the closed group. Everybody creates a new character, no gifting of gear around. You just go by what you can find or gamble along the way. No mercenaries, we're not going to be using mercenaries. We'll have a team of 8, that's plenty. We don't all need to have mercenaries following us around too. And no using items with charges to access otherwise forbidden skills. That defeats the purpose of the variant team. So let me go ahead and walk you through the individual characters here real quickly. First and foremost, Fire Sorcery. And this will give you sort of an idea of what the roles look like. Fire Sorcery is restricted to investing in skills from the fire tree only. Only fire skills. This is where the elemental side of the Elemental Strike team comes in. Fire Sorcery also prohibited from ever having any resistances to fire. You can see no fire resistor on any items, no use of fire resist shrines, no skills that would add fire resistance. The one exception is the quest reward. In Act 5, you can read the quest reward scroll. But that does mean that in Nightmare and Hell difficulty, you will have starting at negative 30 resistance in Nightmare, and then minus 80 fire resistance at the start of Hell difficulty. And yes, that does increase damage, so kind of an interesting aspect of the character. You can also use the enchant spell if you want, but I probably won't be doing very much of that. And I'm going to be playing the role of the Fire Sorcery because I think it sounds like a lot of fun, and I plan to do a lot of stuff with Meteor and some stuff with Fireball skill, and I've got a skill order already planned out, so rest assured. If you watch, you'll be seeing a lot of fiery death raining down from the sky. The other roles are somewhat similar. So Cold Sorceress. Cold Sorcery can only invest in skills from the Cold Tree. All other skills are prohibited. No resistance to cold, no reduction of freezing length, no half freeze duration, nothing like that. You can use thawing potions, but that's about it. And our Cold Sorcery is going to be played by Zed in this particular makeup. Zed is another longtime Diablo player who's going to be joining us for this particular team. Cold Sorcery is interesting. So Fire Sorcery has the most raw damage overall. Fire Sorcery also gets access to warmth, so you have more mana regen. Cold Sorcery has access to the cold armors, so you have a little bit more defensive ability. Cold Sorcery outputs less damage, but Cold Mastery lowers resistance to cold, and you also have the ability to chill and freeze enemies, which will be very useful, obviously. Lightning Sorcery is next. Similar deal. Lightning Sorceress can only use skills from the Lightning Tree. Lightning Sorcery can't have any resistance to lightning, blah, blah, blah. And you're restricted in how many points you can put in static fields so that you're not just doing nothing but using static. You can max it eventually, but not until Hell difficulty. Sunrise is going to be playing the Lightning Sorcery role. Sunrise has done a lot of playing in the Civilization community. Sunrise has been in a number of League games with the League of Legends stuff I've done. He hasn't played as much Diablo, but I'm sure he'll be able to handle this role just fine. Lightning Sorcery is interesting. Again, not as much raw damage as fire, but you have a lot of utility. You've got your energy shield for a little bit of protection. You have teleport, so you can blink all over the map. There's a lot of fun stuff to be done with the Lightning Sorcery role, and we'll see what Sunrise does with that. Next up, some of our more utility spec roles. We have the Poison/Golem Necromancer. So Poison Necromancer can use all the poison skills. There's only 3 of them. That's Poison Dagger, Poison Explosion, and Poison Nova. Teeth and Corpse Explosion skills can be taken only as prereqs. They're not to be used. This is a poison role, again. Elemental Strike team, focusing on elemental damage. Now, that's only 3 skills, and you don't even get some of those poison skills until you get close to, I think, close to level 30. So we know it's something else for this Necromancer to do, and that means the Poison Necromancer can also use all 4 Golem skills, the Clay, Blood, Iron, and Fire Golems, and can also use Golem Mastery. Again, how many points to put to Poison use, how many to devote to Golem use is up to the player, so that's going to be up to Wild Viking what he wants to do there. Poison Necro is prohibited from using skills from the Curses tree, can't have any resistance to poison, nothing that reduces poison duration, nothing like that. Again, the one exception is the quest reward for freeing Anya in Act 5, and you can't use anything that reduces length of poison. You can go back to town to clear the poison, or drink from a well, but that's about it. Wild Viking's going to be playing our Poison Necromancer role. Wild Viking was on a former variant team that I did with a bunch of Druids, and did a great job with that, so good to get a chance to see him again. Next up, our Bone Necromancer role. So this is another role here, so one of the more unique ones. Bone Necromancer is able to use all of the bone skills, that is Teeth, Bone Armor, Bone Wall, Bone Spear, Bone Prison, and Bone Spirit. Corpse Explosion is a prereq only, it's not to be used. So these are all of the magic damage skills, something that's not a lot of people are necessarily aware of in Diablo 2, but there is a small subset of skills that are classified as magic damage, and that's what most of these bone skills are. In addition to that, Bone Necromancer can also use the summoning bone skills, that is Raise Skeleton, Skeletal Mage, Skeleton Mastery. How many points to devote to bone use and how many to devote to skeleton use will be up to the player. And I'm sure you can make plenty of jokes about the name of this character, but I'll just let that slide for right now. Bone Necromancer, prohibited from using any skills from the Curses tree, prohibited from having more than 25% resist to any element on his or her character sheet. So you can have some resistance to anything, but capped on 25% resist to all, so can't have more than 25%. And again, going by what the character sheet says, after the Nightmare and Hell penalties. T-Hawk is going to play our Bone Necromancer role. I'm interested to see what T-Hawk is going to do. He said he's going to focus a lot on using bone walls, and we'll see what he's able to do with that, but that should be pretty interesting. This is, again, more of a utility role, but there's some direct damage as well with the use of skills like Bone Spear and Bone Spirit, so should be fun to watch. Next up, more of our elemental roles. We have a Fire Druid role. Fire Druid is able to use all the fire elemental skills. That's Firestorm, Molten Boulder, Fissure, Volcano, and Armageddon. The other elemental skills are prerequisite only for Armageddon. They're not to be used. So basically can use all the fire skills in the Druid elemental tree. Can't use any skills from the summoning or shapeshifting trees for the Druid, and again, prohibited from having any resistance to fire. As for our Fire Druid role, that's going to be played by Termith. So this is again going to look very similar to the Fire Sorcery role. We'll have 2 sources of fire damage. So fire deals a lot of damage. Fire generally has the highest damage in Diablo 2. One of the trade-offs for that is there are more enemies that are fire immune than anything else in the game. But it should be a lot of fun watching Termith use Molten Boulder and Fissure and Volcano and so on and so forth. This is going to be a very graphically intense group that we're going to have. Next up, we have our Wind Druid role. So Wind Druid is able to use all of the wind elemental skills. That's Arctic Blast, Cyclone Armor, Twister, Tornado, and Hurricane. The other skills in the elemental tree are prohibited, and there's actually not a lot of wasted prerequisite points there. Again, Wind Druid can't use any skills from the summoning or shape-shifting trees. Wind Druid is prohibited from having any resistance to cold, and again, you can't have the reduced freezing duration, can't have immune to freezing. And you're also not allowed to have any items with physical resistance either. There's not very many items that have that, but some high-end rares and uniques will occasionally have something like that. This is a role that it deals a mixture of physical and cold damage. Twister and Tornado deal physical damage. Hurricane and Arctic Blast deal cold damage. So, like I said, these are the other elemental skills in the Druid elemental tree. This role is going to be played by Trenlo. Trenlo is a new player. I'm not familiar with Trenlo, but was watching the Diablo 2 live stream, was apparently interested in joining us, and be nice to meet someone else and have a chance to meet another new player. Then finally, our last and kind of our most unique role is that of the Aura Paladin. Aura Paladin is able to use all of the defensive auras, with the one exception of Salvation, which is the Resist All aura, designed to force the choice between the Resist Fire, Resist Ice, Resist Lightning auras for the team. Can use the following offensive auras: Holy Fire, Holy Freeze, Holy Shock, Sanctuary, and Conviction. Might is prerequisite only. All the other offensive auras are prohibited, and the Aura Paladin is prohibited from using any skills from the combat skills tree. So basically what this is a support character. This is your League of Legends support character, the one who goes around warding the map, that sort of thing. Aura Paladin doesn't have any equipment restrictions, but this is a character who has no offensive skills whatsoever, so as I've put here, a highly defensive tank build is suggested. This is a character who's not really going to be killing much of anything. This is a support character designed to help the mages kill as quickly, efficiently, and safely as possible. Basically, the idea for the Aura Paladin is to either run Conviction Aura, which drops the resistances of monsters, and I have a feeling we'll be using Conviction quite a bit, or alternately, to use some kind of defensive aura to keep people alive. If they were in an area where there's all kinds of fire damage, maybe you run Resist Fire to give everybody fire resistance on the team. And that skill also increases maximum fire resist as well, if you put points in it. Or use Meditation to give everybody extra mana regen. Whatever, it's up to the player to decide what's most appropriate for each individual situation. I have a feeling we'll mostly be using Conviction, but we'll get some chances to use other stuff as well. It's not always the case that you just want pure offense. Our Aura Paladin tended to be a fairly popular role. There was a lot of interest in this one, more than I expected, and Digdag is the one who's ultimately going to be playing that for us. Digdag's another player I'm not familiar with, but was interested, and we're happy to have Digdag on the team. So then finally, again, this is Elemental Strike Team 2014. We're planning on Tuesday night gaming sessions starting at about 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 20 hours. And you can convert that to your local time zone. Unfortunately, it's not too good for Europeans. Sorry about that. I will save the live streams so people can see them later. And lo and behold, the first session is planned for tomorrow, Tuesday, June 10th. And that's the reason why I wanted to get this video up on the channel, so anyone who's interested can go ahead and tune in. Live stream will be on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/lcsulla, and it is linked underneath this video in the description and underneath the video. So let me go back to the web camera here for a second so you guys can see me. Come on, there I am. Hello. Hi guys again. So in any case, hope that some people would be interested. I'm sure that there'll be some interest in watching this. I'll do my best to keep an eye on Twitch chat. Might not always be able to respond while we're busy, but keep an eye on what you guys are typing. Try to interact and see what we can do. So hopefully this will be fun. We'll try to run this over the next, throughout the summer months, and see how far we can get. See how many deaths we can avoid. How many deaths we end up taking, how many deaths we avoid. We'll definitely have some. This is not a hardcore variant. It's not intended to be a super difficult variant. These characters are actually quite strong. It's just intended more to be fun, to go back and play a game that most of us have very fond memories of in Diablo 2, and go back and just do sort of a fun gaming experience. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope that some of you are able to turn out and watch. But in any case, once again, thanks for watching. Just wanted to make this announcement. Hope you guys are off to the start of a nice week, and I'll see you guys again soon. Take care.